Welcome to my channel. Support our channel by subscribing. Your subscription helps us grow and create more intriguing content like this. Now, let's dive into today's story. Adrian Jensen, a 30-year-old software engineer from London, is ecstatic as he prepares to marry Isabella White, his loving fiancée of 2 years. Isabella, a warm-hearted schoolteacher, captivated Adrian from their first meeting, and they quickly fell into a steady, beautiful relationship. The couple has been inseparable since, with Adrian finding in Isabella not only a partner, but a best friend. Adrian's family, particularly his parents, have always expressed excitement over his engagement, especially since he has always been the responsible son in the family, reliable and goal-oriented. Adrian's younger brother, Liam Jensen, a 27-year-old artist, however, has a more unpredictable nature. While they share a close bond, Liam has always shown signs of impulsivity and boundary issues that Adrian assumed were simply quirks. Unbeknownst to Adrian, Liam has been harboring an unhealthy fixation on Isabella. While Adrian sees their family's support for his marriage, Liam's attentions toward Isabella gradually turn obsessive, and the once harmless quirks become something more sinister. Adrian's parents notice Liam's frequent, intense glances and his habit of inserting himself into Isabella's life. However, rather than addressing it, they hope that Liam's fascination is temporary and that their silence will prevent conflict. Adrian, completely unaware, eagerly continues planning the wedding, looking forward to the new life he and Isabella will start together. But beneath this happiness, Liam's obsession grows, setting the stage for a shocking revelation. On their wedding day, Adrian's hopes are crushed when Liam publicly disrupts the ceremony, proclaiming his love for Isabella in front of friends and family. The room goes silent as Liam's disturbing fixation is laid bare, leaving Adrian heartbroken and furious. The revelation is shocking, but things take an even darker turn after the wedding when Liam's fixation escalates, leading him to break into Isabella's home. This explosive hook launches the story into a series of confrontations and tough decisions as Adrian comes to grips with the full extent of Liam's obsession and his parents' troubling silence. Adrian and Liam grew up in a close-knit family in the outskirts of London. Adrian, always the disciplined, steady presence, and Liam, the free-spirited artist, have shared a bond filled with both love and a subtle rivalry. Their parents, Claire and Edward Jensen, doted on Adrian for his focus and responsible nature, but they always showed a soft spot for Liam, viewing his impulsive tendencies as mere phases. Adrian would defend Liam's eccentricities to others, even when it meant going out of his way to bail him out of minor trouble. Despite their differences, Adrian has always been protective of Liam, excusing his erratic behaviors and keeping faith in him. When Adrian introduced Isabella to his family, he believed they all approved, especially Liam. Initially, Liam's support appeared genuine. He expressed excitement, frequently complimented Isabella, and even offered to help with wedding arrangements. But Isabella began to notice subtle discomfort in Liam's presence, an intensity in his gaze, and an unusual eagerness to spend time with her. Adrian remained oblivious, chalking it up to Liam's usual behavior, but Isabella became increasingly uncomfortable, sensing that Liam's interest went beyond the usual brotherly connection. Their parents also observed Liam's fascination, but continued to downplay it, firmly believing it would fade with time. They kept their concerns to themselves, unwilling to disrupt the family's harmony. However, their decision to remain silent soon backfires, as Liam's feelings deepen and his behavior becomes harder to ignore. This background on Adrian and Liam's relationship paints a complex picture of family dynamics, exploring Adrian's blind loyalty, his parents' enabling of Liam's behavior, and the family's reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths. It sets the foundation for the tension and heartbreak that Adrian will soon face as he realizes the consequences of ignoring Liam's actions. As the wedding date approaches, Liam's behavior begins to escalate in unsettling ways. He becomes overly involved in the wedding planning, offering suggestions that would place him in proximity to Isabella. He insists on accompanying her on shopping trips, even when Adrian can't make it, and constantly compliments her in ways that make Isabella uncomfortable. He begins to bring her personal gifts, rare books she mentioned liking, her favorite flowers, and even a custom painting of her, which she finds intrusive. Isabella tries to brush it off, but the gestures feel increasingly intimate, bordering on possessive. Isabella confides in Adrian about her discomfort, but he downplays it, not wanting to believe his brother could harbor such feelings. Adrian's faith in his family blinds him to the growing signs of Liam's obsession, dismissing Isabella's concerns as overreactions. Adrian's parents, however, sense Isabella's unease and become concerned about Liam's behavior, but remain silent, choosing to avoid the confrontation. They convince themselves that Liam's fascination with Isabella will disappear after the wedding, unaware that his fixation is intensifying. During family gatherings, Liam's infatuation becomes even more evident. He positions himself next to Isabella whenever possible, watching her with an intensity that makes even family members uneasy. Isabella tries to politely distance herself, but Liam's persistence and entitlement make her feel trapped. She begins to worry that her upcoming marriage to Adrian might trigger something darker in Liam. The discomfort she feels is amplified by the family's unwillingness to address the issue. This section of the story heightens the suspense, as Isabella's intuition warns her of Liam's fixation, and the family's reluctance only serves to empower his behavior, leaving Isabella feeling increasingly isolated and unsafe. As the wedding day draws near, Liam's behavior becomes increasingly erratic and distressing. He begins texting Isabella late at night under the guise of helping with the wedding planning and becomes possessive, questioning her decisions and displaying subtle jealousy whenever she talks about Adrian. He finds excuses to be around her, ignoring personal boundaries and acting as if he has a stake in her life. When Isabella expresses her discomfort, Adrian, caught between his fiancée and his family, attempts to downplay Liam's behavior to avoid conflict, torn by his love for Isabella and his loyalty to his brother. A few days before the wedding, Isabella receives an anonymous letter in her mailbox, written in a disturbingly affectionate tone, expressing undying love and admiration. She immediately suspects Liam, recognizing his handwriting, but Adrian, still hesitant to believe his brother could be capable of such behavior, dismisses it as a prank. The incident, however, confirms Isabella's worst fears. Liam's feelings are not just harmless admiration. They have grown into a full-blown obsession. She confronts Adrian, demanding he take her concerns seriously, and he reluctantly agrees to speak with Liam. However, Adrian's talk with Liam only aggravates the situation, as Liam becomes defensive, claiming that his feelings for Isabella are misunderstood and that Adrian is overreacting. Adrian realizes that Liam's fixation might be deeper than he initially thought, but remains optimistic that the wedding will provide closure, convincing himself that his brother will eventually move on. This outline builds tension as Adrian realizes the gravity of the situation, faced with the difficult choice of prioritizing Isabella's safety over his familial loyalty, setting up the explosive confrontation that will unfold on their wedding day. The wedding day arrives, and Adrian and Isabella are ready to start their new life together. The ceremony proceeds beautifully until the moment they are about to exchange vows. Suddenly, Liam interrupts, standing up and loudly declaring his love for Isabella, insisting that Adrian is unworthy of her and that they belong together. The room falls silent as guests stare in shock, some unsure whether it's a joke or a genuine outburst. Isabella freezes, horrified and shaken, while Adrian, devastated and humiliated, attempts to get Liam to leave. Liam's parents rush to calm him down, but his fixation has crossed the line, and he refuses to back down, making the once joyous occasion into a public spectacle. Friends and family are stunned, watching as Liam's disturbing obsession is exposed for all to see. Adrian's parents finally realize the consequences of their silence, but it's too late. Their decision to ignore Liam's behavior has culminated in a traumatic public confrontation. The disruption leaves Isabella deeply shaken, and she exits the ceremony, traumatized by Liam's words and actions. Adrian confronts his parents, demanding to know why they never told him about Liam's fixation on Isabella. They admit they were aware of it, but hoped that avoiding confrontation would make it disappear. Furious and heartbroken, Adrian sees his family's failure to protect him and his fiancée as an unforgivable betrayal. This moment marks the turning point of the story, as Adrian's trust is shattered, and he realizes the depth of the family's denial and the devastating impact on his future with Isabella. Following the disastrous wedding, Adrian is left grappling with overwhelming emotions of betrayal, anger, and heartbreak. Isabella is emotionally shattered, traumatized by the public declaration from Liam and the humiliation of having their most cherished day ruined. She feels violated by Liam's actions, as though her personal space has been encroached upon in a deeply unsettling way. While Adrian tries to comfort her, he knows that words alone can't repair the damage done. This incident has altered their relationship, introducing an element of distrust, not between them, but toward Adrian's family, whom Isabella now sees as complicit in enabling Liam's behavior. Adrian's parents try to reach out, offering half-hearted apologies, but their reluctance to acknowledge the gravity of their role only deepens Adrian's frustration. He feels torn between his loyalty to his family and his responsibility to Isabella, but he knows that he must choose her well-being over his family's flawed sense of unity. This choice weighs heavily on him, as it means severing ties with the people who raised him, but he recognizes that they protected Liam at the expense of his and Isabella's happiness. Adrian suggests to Isabella that they seek therapy together to work through the trauma. She agrees, but both of them are aware that healing from this incident won't be easy. Adrian also privately seeks counseling to deal with the anger he harbors toward his family, realizing that his previous blind loyalty has contributed to this heartbreaking outcome. Their relationship, though strained, begins to heal through shared resilience, and they focus on rebuilding trust and intimacy. This segment explores the deep emotional aftermath of the wedding, highlighting how Adrian's prioritization of Isabella marks a pivotal shift in his values, even as he struggles to process the betrayal of his family. Despite the confrontation at the wedding, Liam's obsession only intensifies. He feels wronged, viewing Adrian and Isabella's rejection as an unjust punishment rather than a consequence of his actions. His fixation with Isabella morphs into an unhealthy desire to win her back, convinced that he simply needs to show her how much he cares. Blinded by his obsession, Liam becomes increasingly unhinged, developing a sense of entitlement toward her life and her personal space. One night, when Adrian is away on a business trip, Liam breaks into Isabella's house. He convinces himself he's there to check on her, and that his presence is justified. But in reality, he roams through her belongings, studying her photographs, personal items, and letters. Isabella, who arrives home early from an evening with friends, is horrified to find Liam in her living room, handling her possessions as though he has every right to be there. She immediately calls the police, feeling both violated and terrified. Liam tries to explain his actions, claiming he was there to make amends, but his words sound delusional. The police arrest him on the spot for trespassing and breaking into her home. This incident reinforces to Isabella the dangerous extent of Liam's obsession, and she finally feels validated in her fears. For Adrian, learning of the break-in is the final breaking point. He realizes that Liam's obsession is beyond his control and that he must take drastic measures to ensure Isabella's safety. This part of the story demonstrates how Liam's unhealthy fixation crosses every boundary, threatening not only Isabella's peace, but also Adrian's resolve to protect her. It further cements the emotional distance between Adrian and his family, as he now sees Liam's behavior as a serious threat. After the break-in, Adrian arranges a private meeting with his parents, determined to get answers. Claire and Edward Jensen are visibly uncomfortable, struggling to accept the reality of Liam's dangerous behavior. They insist they never saw this coming, but Adrian confronts them with the truth. They saw the signs but chose to ignore them. He demands to know why they didn't warn him or encourage Liam to seek help when they first noticed his inappropriate interest in Isabella. His parents' response is disheartening. They confess that they believed they were protecting family harmony, convincing themselves that Liam's feelings were harmless and temporary. Adrian feels a surge of resentment as he realizes their silence enabled Liam's fixation to fester unchecked. He accuses them of valuing their own comfort over his happiness and security, questioning whether they were ever truly supportive of his relationship with Isabella. This conversation is a turning point for Adrian. He understands now that his parents' loyalty was to the image of a perfect family, not to his or Isabella's well-being. Heartbroken, he decides to cut ties with them, acknowledging that he cannot move forward while staying connected to those who allowed Liam's obsession to reach such dangerous levels. This scene marks Adrian's final act of disconnection from his family, choosing to prioritize the safety and trust of the family he hopes to build with Isabella over the toxic loyalty to his parents and brother. In the months following Liam's arrest, Adrian and Isabella work on rebuilding their lives and relationship. Therapy sessions help them address the trauma they've endured, allowing them to regain a sense of safety and emotional stability. Adrian has relocated to a new city with Isabella, away from his family, providing a fresh start where they can move forward without the shadow of Liam's obsession. Though painful, Adrian's decision to distance himself from his family brings a newfound sense of peace. Isabella feels supported and protected, and she begins to see Adrian's actions as proof of his loyalty and love for her. They start to rebuild their trust, creating new memories together that overshadow the pain they endured. Adrian occasionally feels pangs of guilt and sadness over the family he's left behind, but he knows he made the right choice to prioritize Isabella's well-being. Eventually, the couple marries in a quiet, private ceremony with only a few close friends, symbolizing a fresh beginning unburdened by the past. They reflect on the lessons learned through their trials, grateful for their resilience and commitment to each other. Adrian's experience has redefined his understanding of family and loyalty, teaching him that true family supports and protects without compromise. This final part of the story brings a sense of closure, emphasizing the healing power of resilience and the importance of making difficult choices to protect one's happiness and safety. As Adrian moves forward with his life, he undergoes a significant inner transformation. Having always placed his family's approval above his own needs, he begins to question the values he once held dear. This experience forces him to reevaluate the meaning of loyalty, family, and personal boundaries. Adrian realizes that loyalty to family doesn't mean sacrificing one's happiness or enabling toxic behaviors. Instead, he learns that real loyalty is rooted in love, respect, and protection of those he cherishes. His journey with Isabella teaches him to establish healthier boundaries, to speak up for his needs, and to protect the peace in his own home. In therapy, Adrian also confronts feelings of guilt over severing ties with his parents and brother, a choice that weighs heavily on him. He recognizes that, despite the pain, cutting ties was necessary for both his and Isabella's safety. This inner growth marks a turning point in his life, as he becomes a more self-aware, resilient, and empowered individual. Adrian vows to build a family with values that are grounded in open communication, respect, and genuine support, a contrast to the dysfunction he experienced with his own family. He is no longer the passive, accommodating man he once was. Now he's a proactive partner and protector for Isabella, committed to creating a life free of past traumas. Isabella's healing process is equally profound. Liam's obsession and the disruption of her wedding day left deep emotional scars, instilling a lingering fear and mistrust toward Adrian's family. Initially, she struggles with feelings of vulnerability, questioning her safety and her judgment in trusting Adrian's family. However, her decision to work through these feelings with Adrian strengthens their relationship, helping her to process the trauma and regain a sense of control. Isabella's resilience shines as she gradually rebuilds her trust in Adrian, recognizing the strength it took for him to choose her over his family. Her self-confidence and trust in others begin to recover, knowing she has Adrian's unwavering support. Through therapy and self-reflection, she learns to set clearer personal boundaries, vowing to never allow anyone to jeopardize her peace or safety again. Isabella ultimately finds empowerment in her vulnerability, using her experience to advocate for open communication and emotional safety in relationships. This transformation reinforces her commitment to a healthy, supportive partnership with Adrian as they work together to create a future built on mutual respect, love, and trust. Following his arrest, Liam faces legal consequences for breaking into Isabella's home, a wake-up call he can no longer ignore. His family, once enablers of his behavior, are now powerless to shield him from accountability. During his time in custody, Liam is ordered by the court to undergo psychiatric evaluation and therapy, as it becomes evident that his obsession was not only damaging, but also indicative of deeper psychological issues. In therapy, Liam confronts the underlying causes of his fixation on Isabella, recognizing his need for control and validation. This process forces him to confront uncomfortable truths about his sense of entitlement and his disregard for boundaries. He realizes that his actions have alienated him from his family, led to legal troubles, and destroyed the only meaningful relationships he had. Over time, Liam starts to grasp the gravity of his actions, feeling genuine remorse for the pain he caused Adrian and Isabella. He understands that recovery will be a long journey, requiring him to take responsibility for his actions and work toward healing his own life independently. Although he may never repair his relationship with Adrian, he learns that accountability is essential for his personal growth. After the legal proceedings and the arrest, Adrian's relationship with his parents remains strained. Claire and Edward, once hopeful that family loyalty would override any conflict, are forced to confront the fact that their silence led to profound harm. Though they feel remorseful, they struggle to take full accountability, feeling torn between their love for both sons. They reach out to Adrian, hoping for forgiveness, but he remains guarded, unwilling to ignore the betrayal he felt when they failed to protect him and Isabella from Liam's disturbing behavior. Adrian eventually agrees to meet his parents, but with boundaries in place. He explains that while he still loves them, he can't overlook their complicity in enabling Liam's actions. He makes it clear that their relationship will only continue if they respect his need for distance from Liam and prioritize honesty in the future. Claire and Edward express their regret and assure Adrian that they'll work to understand the impact of their choices. However, Adrian maintains a level of caution, valuing his peace and the life he's building with Isabella above any superficial family harmony. This difficult conversation leads to a new, cautious understanding between Adrian and his parents. Though the bond may never be fully repaired, Adrian's willingness to set boundaries and hold them accountable reflects his commitment to protecting his future with Isabella, choosing integrity over family obligations. With the turmoil behind them, Adrian and Isabella embark on a journey to create a life defined by joy, resilience, and mutual respect. They relocate to a new city, setting up a fresh beginning away from the painful memories associated with their past. The couple channels their experience into becoming advocates for open communication and mental health awareness, hoping to use their story to encourage others to address difficult family dynamics rather than bury them. Adrian and Isabella's love deepens, forged through adversity. They continue to attend therapy, both individually and as a couple, finding healing in shared vulnerability and a strengthened partnership. Their experiences remind them to cherish each other, to value trust over loyalty to family ties, and to advocate for each other's well-being no matter the cost. Eventually, they talk about starting a family of their own. Adrian, now a protective and attentive partner, envisions raising his children with values grounded in honesty, support, and mutual aid. Their story becomes a testament to the power of love to overcome obstacles, the importance of boundaries, and the need to break cycles of enabling behavior. They reflect on how far they've come, from heartbreak and betrayal to a hopeful future together, grateful for the resilience they found in each other. In the end, Adrian and Isabella's journey teaches them that while family is important, the well-being of those closest to one's heart must come first. They embrace their future, looking forward to a life where peace, trust, and unconditional love guide their every step.